What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are back with the Banish For Cost podcast, episode 2. Today, we're going to be talking more about heroes. I want to kind of dive into this specific topic on heroes because I feel like it's been the topic of discussion for, it's been going on for a while. It's more of where are heroes at today? And if you see by the thumbnail and the title of this video, a hero falls, like everyone knows the spell card A Hero Lives. Every time we see that card, that's the one we want to see. It's what gets us going, yada, yada, yada. Well, heroes altogether is not getting us there. And I kind of want to dive into that. And I kind of want to talk about what's wrong with heroes. And I guess, and this is just from my point of view, from playing the deck all these years and playing it in the current meta and seeing what all it can do, what the ceiling is for it and whatever. So where I think it is right now, I think heroes, sadly, is just outdated. I think the archetype is good for what it is, but I think there's just way too many bricks for that deck to run, competitively. So yeah, individual, like if you break all of it individually, you got your elemental heroes, your destiny heroes, whatever. And so every single archetype put together, like it can do very good things, but it's too slow. And sometimes the deck just dies to an Imperm or a Veiler, an Ash, whatever. So, you end up drawing 3 malicious, a polymerization or something, and then you're stuck on one monster or whatever. There's not too many things you can do with hands like that. And I find that that's very common in heroes. And we always seem to draw the one increase. So you find yourself playing 2 of them and then you draw both of them in your start hand, but all you're doing is adding bricks. And I saw a video that was interesting the other day. It was Team Sam's video talking about the new branded cards. And, he was talking about how 60 is the new 40. And I do agree with that in today's meta. But I do think that is specific for branded. And branded runs very well off of a 60 card engine because their cards can do so much. They do so much more than what heroes do. They have searchable cards that can, pop cards in the field, and they fusion from deck, and they send cards from the extra deck and do all this other stuff. Heroes are just outdated. I will say that Fusion Destiny was one of the better cards that we've ever gotten because you can send from, hand and deck to summon out the Destiny Hero Fusion monster. But that also locks you into Dark Heroes. And like if you want to play Elemental Hero Wingman and Shining Needle, like you can't go into those plays, so you're stuck into Dark Heroes. DPE and Darklaw, that's a pretty good board. It's very easy to out it, but you can go into that. So I don't feel like that's optimal in today's meta. If I choose to go second, I think heroes are probably a better board breaking deck than it is going first, depending if you main deck Plasma. But even then, that's really not that hard to get around. Decks today, they play all these different things that can just get around that. They can just tribute their monster for cost, and there it goes. If you got, Plasma and Darklaw on the field, then yeah, it'd be hard for them to tribute off because it'd be banished or whatever. But at the same time, it's nothing to drop down an Imperm or negate something. Dark Ruler No More is all over the meta. And then you get Kaiju, and then you got Branded, who's playing Super Poly. And I just played against Dark Magician Tactics the other day. We were both using the new tactical tri-pack support, and I made this big board. I had 2 Darklaw, I had DPE, I had Plasma on the field. I was like, I got a double hand rip, I got DPE to pop something, I got Plasma to negate his field, Super Poly. And then that was it, and there's nothing you can do after that. You got the double Darklaw, but that's not going to get me anywhere. So I think heroes are still living in 2014, 2015. I think that's when they were, to me, the most relevant, and they're constantly getting support. But I feel like it's the wrong support. So I also want to dive into what we can do to fix heroes, because I don't think it's all bad. I think that heroes they've been getting support, they've just been getting the wrong kind. I think in today's age, I'm going to say the same thing that Dark Magician players are saying. I think that heroes need a Link 1. There's got to be something that we can just normal summon. If we use the effect, awesome. And if they negate it, cool. We'll just go into our Link 1 and then we'll go into our play. So how much better would it be if you normal summon Shadow Mist, send Shadow Mist, summon your Link monster, Chain Link 1, Chain Link 2, or 1, 2, however it goes, and then you can snowball that way. Now what that Link 1 will do, I have no idea. I'd like to say we would need a Link 1 and a pretty decent field spell. You would need a field spell that would give heroes a little bit more advantage. You know, we can get monsters on the field. I never thought that was an issue for heroes, but it's protecting them while they're on the field that's the problem. You know, we can't get around. You can play around Nib. I think that's not the worst thing to happen to heroes, because once we get into Devicer or whatever, you can get into your plays. So you can get to that on your 5th summon at least. So you can definitely have follow-up for Nib. The other thing is Droll. Now, I do think at some point Droll's going to get hit, and we're not going to have as many issues in this meta. But I at the moment, Droll just kills the deck. So you kind of have to play the deck as if it doesn't exist, because once they drop it, you know, I mean, that's it. And if they don't have Droll, then I think you're okay. I think you're not bad. But it's the multiple hand traps that it just cannot play through. If you got multiple hand traps, multiple cards on field, you know, like even going second, it's tough because of all the amount of bricks. You know, I feel like I shouldn't have to play a 60 card hero deck in order to feel like I'm being competitive. You know, I understand that may be what it's called for, but I don't feel like it should be necessary. I feel like I should be able to cut it down to 40 or 45, 50, whatever, and play how I feel comfortable playing. But, you know, that's not the case. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I get that. It works both ways. It's kind of a double-edged sword in a way. So I do think that's another way we could do it. I do know the tactical tri-pack is coming. So I don't think those monsters are going to help the deck that much better to make it meta relevant. I still, even when those cards come out, I still think the ceiling for heroes is maybe win a locals. And typically you're not going to have too many locals where heroes is just dominating. I mean, yeah, like if you're a great pilot, I feel like I'm a pretty decent pilot for heroes. And at my locals, you know, we've got a bunch of excellent people. Like, they know this game, they know how to play, they live and breathe for this, and you know, all that does is make me better. But at the same time, like, that's the competition, and those are the people you're going to play when you go to regionals and YCSs and things like that. And if I'm barely scrapping out, you know, 500 records at locals, what you think is going to happen at a regional? I mean, yeah, I'll get lucky here and there, and I'll go X1, you know, X2, however many rounds we play. But 9 times out of 10, you know, if I play a meta deck, it's going to lose. It can't outgrind them, and it's kind of a sad thing to see, because you're watching your favorite deck do its thing. Like, I've had games where I have absolutely laid out a board where I've had everything, like just like I said against Dark Magician Tactics, like, and all it took was one card and it shut my whole field down. And you know, I understand that's how Yu-Gi-Oh works sometimes. You know, it is what it is, but it's consistent and it's always happening. So the cards are easy to get over, the cards are easy to out, the floodgate effects are great, which I kind of want Konami to get away from that. I don't want heroes to be known as this floodgate deck like it is right now. You know, Dark Law and Plasma are 2 floodgates. They're our best monsters. You know, DPE's not necessarily like that, but DPE, you can get around it. You know, if we had more like that, it'd be like, heroes are one of the only archetypes without an Omni Negate. You know, even like for Dark Magician, for all the support they don't get, they still have Red Eyes Dark Dragoon, which is arguably one of the most powerful fusion monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! So it's hard to argue that. They just don't have necessarily the way to get to their combos kind of like heroes do. But we play more bricks. Yeah, they might have vanillas, that more vanillas that they have to play, but we have more bricks. We just play the one Neos if that's what we choose to play. So there's arguments on both sides of that. So I think Heroes needing to be more consistent. I do feel like we need a Link 1. We probably, in my opinion, I think we need the field spell, but I also saw somebody say the other day that a Link 1 would help out. And once I kind of thought about that, I was like, that would be excellent. You know, even if I have just one, if I have one Stratos in hand and the rest of my cards in hand are kind of useless, summon Stratos, you negate it, cool. Go into this, and this can search the thing that can keep me going. And it makes it to where your opponent has to actually think about, you know, if I ash this Stratos, you know, are they going to have this kind of follow-up? You know, do I let him get that search, go in, and then negate his Link 1, depending on what the Link 1 does? So I definitely feel that's one way to kind of get us close to being over the hump, just to be able to extend a little more. So I'm going to keep diving into Heroes because I'm never going to stop playing it. I love the deck. I can sit there, I'll lose every match. I don't care. You know, I enjoy Yu-Gi-Oh for what it is. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't sit back and think, man, like I kind of wish we had what Yummy has and Draco Tail and Branded and all this other stuff. You know, like they've all got excellent cards that can, you know, they fusion summon on their opponent's turn. Just, you know, if they control a monster, they like, it's not your opponent's turn, it's your turn. I heard Triff say that one time, and it was funny. But like Heroes, like we don't do that. You know, like we can respond a little bit, but that's not the case. You know, and I just want to see Heroes kind of trend upwards. You know, I'm not saying that I ever really want Heroes to be meta. I'm the type of person that doesn't like mirror matches. I hate them, can't stand them. So that's another reason I like Heroes, because nobody's playing it in the meta. So if I know if I go to a regional, I'm not going to play against a hero player. It's not going to happen. I would probably appreciate it since I never see it, but at the same time, I don't like mirror matches. I cannot stand it for the life of me. I think it's boring because you're doing the same things, and I don't think that's fun. That's also why I don't necessarily love playing meta decks. But at the same time, yeah, not to get too far off track with that, I don't necessarily want Heroes to get so much support where every single person's playing it because it's so broken. So I definitely don't feel that way. But what I also think is, it's a double-edged sword with this as well. That Heroes lock you into Heroes, like most of the stuff does. Your Fusion Destiny, your Ferris, your Evil Assault, things like that. It all locks you into, you know, Heroes out the extra deck. I'm cool with that. I truly am fine with it. Like sometimes it really sucks that you'll get stopped on a combo and it's like, well, I can just make SP and do this. Well, no, you can't. We don't have a link like that. So maybe if Heroes had a link like kind of like an SP type link or whatever, that would almost be okay. Give us a little bit of disruption. Make it to where we can have something. You know, because once you stop our combo deadness strikes, we don't have anything. And I think that's a sad reality when someone thinks they want to play Heroes. So I do think Konami needs to really dive into that. I think the masked Heroes they're going to be fine. You know, they're going to give us contrast. You know, that's kind of a monster negate. It's not an omni negate, but it also lets us search our fusion stuff a whole lot easier. We're getting a pretty good fusion monster in the extra deck that is going to be like a board wipe. I think that's great. You know, so they're going in the right direction, but the cards are doing the same thing. And I think they're looking at it the complete wrong way. I know Heroes have always been looked at as kind of like a fusion deck, and then once we got those couple links, you know, it was cool, but it's not enough. It's nowhere near enough. You know, it's like it's not enough that I can kind of bitch about it. So I don't feel wrong for saying I need a little more help. We're like the LeBron James of Yu-Gi-Oh. We need help. You know, we can't do it with what we got. We need more around us. We need more surrounding pieces that's gonna knock down the three when we need it. So, you know, Heroes will always be number one. So that's not going anywhere. It's a deck I'll always play. I'll never give it up, no matter how bad it may seem. I do feel like in today's day and age, this is kind of the lowest of the low for Heroes, because we're not even really winning locals anymore. Some guys out there are doing it, but I would argue 95% of people are not topping with Heroes. So I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what you guys think that can make Heroes better. what do we need to kind of get over the hump and kind of be a little bit more competitive. But that's all I got for y'all today. I really hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Comment your answers down below. Until then, I'll see y'all in the next one. Later, guys.